Yep, we are painting it again. Fun times. Hey folks, welcome back. So last time we got our jams painted up. They turned out really well, and I was going to fix a few spots on the back of the case. And after thinking about that for a second, I decided that was a horrible idea. This candy is not something like any of the other opaque paints I've used where you can just kind of blend it in and get away with it. And even if it's not quite perfect, you can blast the whole panel with the top coat and even it out. That just doesn't work with the candies. It's all additive, so blending it in changes the color everywhere. So I thought even if I was amazingly great and got almost all of them right, having one wrong would make me have to repaint the whole case. So that's what I'm doing. I'm repainting the case. It's in there right now. We're getting the base silver down. We'll remask it and get the candy put down, and then that'll be at the stage these pieces are. But while I was unmasking that, I noticed a problem. That blue border tape that I used, which is really usually pretty good, had bled under some. I thought there was enough paint over the top of it after redoing the silver that it would kind of seep in and fill in the cracks like I had done with the clear on these pieces, but apparently not. So I was a little bit worried, so I unmasked the tape on these to see if I had any bleed through. Luckily I had not, and they turned out really well. I'm really happy with them. But that leaves us in a position of retaping them up and getting them ready for our design work, which we're going to split these into panels and do some cool graphics and templates and weird stuff with candies. We'll get into that when we get to it, but what I do need to do is remask these up and get them ready for that part. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to put our borders back in, and then we're going to divide these panels up. I think the door is going to get 3 sections, so we'll have this top piece, a middle piece, and a bottom piece, and then the front's just going to be one section. I think this is going to be a basket weave I'm going to try on it. So this just needs the border done on it, and then it'll be one solid design, I guess. I don't even know what I guess panel. But that's what we're going to do today. So I've got me some nice fine line masking tape, and even some smaller, so I don't know if I'm actually going to use this yet, but this will do our borders and start getting us into splitting these out into panels. So we'll go ahead, we'll get started laying that out, and then maybe talk about why I've repainted this case so many freaking times. It's insane. I've never had this much trouble, but there is a reason why. Well, there are multiple reasons, and they're my excuses, and I'm sticking to them. So let's get started. Okay, so luckily I've got a bit of an edge, not only just the color edge, but also a bit of a lip where the paint difference, the heights are. That candy kind of raised the paint up a little bit. So that's easy to go with, but also I'm not super concerned about how perfect I hold this edge. I don't think anybody's going to be going around with a caliper measuring out, making sure all my tape lines are exactly the same. So I can be a little bit off here and there, as long as we get a good straight line everywhere. And then once we get this border done, we'll mask off the outside so that when we do the detail work, we won't have to worry about ruining our candy, which I've been doing a lot lately apparently. So we'll get this taped up, and then we'll start on our door. Pretty close. There's a few spots where you can see a little bit of silver, but like I say, you're not going to notice that when it's all painted up. So happy with that. I like this tape. It's pretty easy to work with. I've never had a really thin masking tape, so yeah, if it doesn't bleed through, this is awesome. So you might ask yourself, Dave, why are you going through such extreme measures to get this paint just right? And It's probably the hardest time I've had getting a paint job right ever, and part of that is just how modding competitions kind of judge on cases, and there's sort of two pools that you can kind of compete in, and that give you kind of the overall score, and one of those is the creativity of it, and the other is the execution of it, and you can divide those out into different things, and they will, but overall you're looking for creativity and how well you do it. And so if you've got a super creative mod, you can get away with a little bit lower execution. If it's off the wall and you've got a few paint flaws, those flaws get lost in how just over the top the rest of the creativity is. Same goes the other way. If you've got more of a tame mod that isn't super crazy, but it's so well done that you just can't find anything wrong with it, that kind of brings up that lower, that tame case. It makes it a little nicer because it is so well done. And that's where this case is. It's not super creative. It's kind of tame, and there's nothing groundbreaking about it. So the execution of it's really important. So, and that's why I want to get that just right, because that's like the signature of this case is going to be the paint job. And if the paint job sucks, well, then the case kind of sucks. So that's why we're going to repaint that thing until it's perfect. That may take a couple of tries and some more paint, but whatever it takes. Otherwise, I'm just wasting my time trying to get something that looks kind of cool. It'll look cool, but it's not going to be the level that I want it to be at. And on something that I'm competing with, I really do want it to be, I want it to be competitive. I don't want it to be like, hey, I did a kind of a cool paint job. Half the case sucks, but this panel turned out really nice. I want all of it to just be like, hey, look at this, bam, it's freaking awesome. So that's why we're going back and rehashing that paint job and trying to get it just right, because overall on this case, that is what this case is about, is this paint job. So it is kind of an important thing to get correct the first time, or get correct in the end at least. First time, some of this got done right the first time, but some of it we're just going to have to plod through until we get it right, and that's what we're doing. So we'll get back to taping this thing up. We're going to do the border. And like I said, on this one, we're going to divide it into 3 panels. So I'm going to find a line. I'll probably tape the edges, mask it so I've got somewhere to draw marks and stuff on. And then we're going to divide this up in probably a line across here, and then one down here somewhere. I don't know exactly what all these panels are going to be yet, but I'm hoping that maybe once I get it all divided out, it hits me and I figure it out. So that's what we'll keep doing, and I guess that's what we'll keep doing. Okay, so that's not bad. I'm not totally feeling it. I wasn't expecting to put this extra little piece down at the bottom, although I do kind of like it as an option for mirroring what I'm doing up here. What I'm going to do is called the Taj Mahal, and it's a repetitive pattern that will build on itself, and it looks really neat. But with this, short of an area to put it in, you wouldn't get a lot of layers of it. So that's not going to work for doing that. But I do like the idea of mirroring it down there. So I think we want to raise this bottom up so we can get some size and maybe bring this down a little bit. And then I had this idea of possibly doing a round cutout in a center section right here, or maybe match it to this handle, which means I'm going to have to figure out something with this. So maybe I'll bring this down a little bit, put a buffer zone in, and do the same. Bring this up, put a buffer zone, and get me just a strip right through here that I can do something with, and do a little cutout, maybe do some, I don't know, fan pattern or something on it. I'm kind of liking that. Measuring stuff out sucks though. I'm going to use tape as just an idea of where I need to be. So that'll make my life easier, I think. But let's start swapping this around a little bit. Okay, so I'm liking that. I've got room for my stencils on both sides where they'll actually, I think, have enough room to actually get a couple of courses. Not sure what I'm going to do in these little buffer zones. Might be like a fade of color, or maybe some waves, or maybe some marbling. Who knows? We'll figure something out. Then I think, depending on which lace I get for the back panel, I've got a couple different ones ordered. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use yet. But if it's got something that can stick as a detail, that may go in here and just be a point of interest, and then we'll do something on the outside of it. I'm not really sure what's going to go on there yet, but at least I have a game plan. Now it's just a matter of filling the spots in to make it look like something. And like I said, on the front, this will be a basket weave, which will look like a basket weave. It's an interesting pattern. I think it'll be okay up here. We just need to get this thing taped up and it's ready to go. Once I finish that back panel, we'll do the same with it. I'm going to stick with the same layout that I had with the four half circles in the corners. And then those will be fan patterns, and then the center will be lace. And I'm not sure what I'm going to kind of do around that edge. I've got one lace pattern ordered that is, it's almost in a cross. It has a vertical and a horizontal axis that kind of fits that. I just don't know if the lace itself is going to work. So I hope it does, because I think it'll look cool. But if not, we'll figure something out and we'll get that thing laid out, and you know, that won't have nearly as much effort as trying to figure out where these are going to go, because it's pretty much already laid out. Fan patterns, lace in the middle, and then it's just shading from there. So that gets us further down the road. Awesome. So hopefully next time we'll have that thing painted and taped up and ready to go, and maybe we can get into putting some color on these details, or at least getting the stencils knocked out. So until next time, take it easy, Get out there and mod something.